exciting announcement for me, and I think Arkansans, particularly because of the timing, Veterans Day weekend. So I want to show you a few slides, tell a little bit of a story. I love history, love World War II history. And back in 2005, I was working at the White House for President George W. Bush, and at a level where I had what's called mess access, where you can go to the naval dining room. And so someone came up to me and they said, "Hey, I'm supposed to take Buck Compton and Sergeant Malarkey to the mess, but I've got another thing. Will you take them for me?" And I said, this was 2005. I'm like, who are they? And they said, well, Band of Brothers, part of Band of Brothers. And at the time, I hadn't seen Band of Brothers, and it was out, but it wasn't as widely known as it is now. And I, as a favor, said, yeah, I don't know who these guys are, but I'll take them to have lunch. Sure, I'll do that. So this is a younger Tim Griffin with hair in 2005, and this is just coming out of the White House lunch. And this you can't, it's hard to see, but he signed that one, and Sergeant Malarkey signed this one. So this is Buck Compton, Sergeant Malarkey. And I quickly learned at that point all about Band of Brothers. And I then, when I was in the Army, got mobilized later that year. I got mobilized and went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, eventually went to Iraq. I bought the Band of Brothers set, took it with me, watched it on my little DVD player while I was there, and really got into the Band of Brothers. I had read some Stephen Ambrose, who wrote the Band of Brothers book. He wrote a lot of books about World War II and D-Day. But Stephen Ambrose's book was the inspiration for the series. And so when I came back, when I returned to the U.S., back to Fort Campbell, these guys and some others were still touring, going around talking to people about Band of Brothers, and introducing themselves, telling their stories, signing autographs, and guess what? So they were at Fort Campbell right after I got back. So I got to go up to them and say, hey, I got shorter hair, I'm in a green suit, I'm in a uniform, I'm the guy at the White House, we went to lunch, remember? Oh my gosh, yeah. So that year of introduction to these guys just really introduced me to the broader world of Band of Brothers and the sacrifice and the story and the history and all of that. And so fast forward almost 20 years, when I decided to get us out of this building and go over to the Boyle building, we all agreed, look, we need to honor some service and sacrifice. And at one point, I don't know the genesis of it, but someone said, one of the Band of Brothers is from Arkansas. And I said, that's right. Let's dig into that. So we did. And this is Denver Bull Randleman. So Staff Sergeant Denver Bull Randleman, he was called Bull because of his size. He plays a prominent role, the actor, his character, plays a prominent role in the Stephen Ambrose book and in the series, Band of Brothers. Born in Rector, Arkansas, buried in Texarkana, Arkansas. And everything I've been able to learn about him is just, he was an amazing human being in and out of uniform. He was an incredible soldier. Dick Winters, any of you have watched Band of Brothers, you know who Dick Winters was. And even if you haven't watched it, you may have heard about Dick Winters. He was a commander. He's got his own statue in Normandy. I was at that statue this past summer. This is the 80th anniversary this year of Normandy, the Normandy invasion. And Bull Randleman, is the type of person you would want to celebrate and honor. So I said, hey, well, why don't we name, I couldn't find any record of him ever being honored in a significant way in a statue, by a statue or a plaque or whatever. And I said, well, let's name the building after Bull Randleman. That's what I had talked about doing. Just to be clear, we're not doing that. But we were going to do that. And the address is 103 West Capitol, right? Was the building we're going to. And I said, this is the 101st Airborne Division. He was in the 101st. The plan was, not now, but the plan was name the building after him, change the address to 101 from 103. Let's do a statue. That was the plan. Well, unfortunately, we tragically lost my chief deputy, Bob Brooks, in February of this year, and wish he could be here to see all this come to fruition. We're naming, as you know, the Boyle Building after Bob, and that's the right thing to do. But we still have great respect and honor for Staff Sergeant Randleman. We did change the address to 101. And I've been committed throughout to have a statue to Bull Randleman. Not a small statue, not a statue for a corner, but a centerpiece, what I like to call a destination statue, a big one that is significant and moving to both honor his memory and service, but to also educate and celebrate in our downtown in a meaningful way. And of course, when you want a statue done, you want the best. You don't want third rate, because you've seen statues, some are third rate. We want the best. This is one more picture. So this is Bull Randleman, his 101st pin. This is Michael Cudlitz, the actor who played him in Band of Brothers. And this pose is generally up to the artist, what we want to replicate in a big, big way. So who would you think we would get? We want an Arkansan and we want the best. They happen to be the same person. So we have gotten a commitment from Kevin Kresse. If you haven't heard of him by now, then you've been under a rock, because he's amazing and he's our very own. And he is the one who sculpted the Johnny Cash statue. I was there for that unveiling, September, I guess it was. I think it was September, last couple months. In any event, he's a great artist. He's the best. I've been talking to him for probably, I think, over a year, well over a year. And he is committed to doing this. We're already working on some initial ideas, and he's going through his process, the same sort of process that he did go through with Johnny Cash. And let me show you something. The Johnny Cash example is amazing. But in terms of veterans, this is another sculpture that he did. This is in Fort Smith. If you haven't seen this, this is a destination type statue. This statue is of General William Darby. William Darby's in Arkansas from Fort Smith. William Darby is known as the Army, as the guy, the soldier who started the Army Rangers. There were a lot of people involved in the Army Rangers, but he was the one that is credited for getting the Ranger going. He was the first commander of the U.S. Army Rangers. And this is not only amazing, it's on a platform that that has it up where people can see it. It's really big, and it's something to celebrate, and it welcomes you. It welcomes you to downtown Fort Smith there. So we're so excited about Kevin doing it, and this is the sort of the type of thing that really attracted me, the type of art, sculpture that really attracted me. Here's some other ideas. Hang on, I'm going the wrong. Oh yeah. So this is that Iron Mike from? Yes. Okay. That is Iron Mike. I don't think that's the one at Fort Bragg, but there's an Iron Mike statue at what used to be Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, that people want to go see. They want to go see when they're there. And this is going to be that sort of destination statue. So I wanted to announce, it takes a while. It takes a while, at least a year, who knows, maybe longer. We're just getting started. But I wanted everybody to know that we're working on this, that Kevin Kresse has agreed to do it. I'm reaching out to folks associated with the Band of Brothers series, reaching out to some of the people in Hollywood who are involved with it. There's a whole following of the Band of Brothers actors. They all did a lot of research to play their roles. I've reached out to the actor who played Bull Randleman. This is going to be a big, big deal for veterans, but more broadly, it's going to be a big, big deal for Arkansas, for downtown, for educating our children, and it will be a great entree for us to start telling the story of service and sacrifice in Normandy in World War II, and it will make it real to a lot of young Arkansans who don't know about that tie, and it will be a wonderful centerpiece downtown with all the other great stuff we've got going on. And I've asked Gabe Holstrom from Downtown Partnership to come over and talk a little bit about just what a statue like this will mean to the downtown. Gabe, you want to say a few words about this?
Thank you, General. It's not every day that an opportunity like this falls in the lap at downtown Little Rock. And again, thank you to General Griffin, not only for this, but for what he's doing with the Boyle building. That is right across the street from where our offices are. The Boyle building is a building that has sat vacant for 20 years, and it's a beautiful historic building. And the General had the vision and then the wherewithal to go in, restore this beautiful building, bring people back to the street level, and that's going to be an amazing new piece for the entire city as well as for downtown. Then on top of that, so we spent a lot of time at the Downtown Partnership talking about getting people and keeping people in downtown Little Rock, filling up our vacant buildings, and then installing public art in public spaces. So placemaking is something that is a buzzword in my industry that we spend a lot of time talking about. And clearly, General Griffin is taking placemaking to the next level right here a block and a half away. This statue is an example of public art. We spend a lot of time talking about public art. We don't have anything remotely close to this in our downtown right now. So this is going to be an amazing gift for the city, an amazing gift for the state, and thank you, and we're here to help.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you for that. Thank you. And let me say a little bit about, since he mentioned the building, let me talk a little bit about numbers and fiscal. The building is going to save us, once we own it, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We'll be paying money within government, so it'll just be a transfer within government, not paying outside of government. So basically, government's going to own that building. We've been renting here for decades. But let me talk about the statute. No government funds are going to be spent on the statute. None. I'm raising them all privately. If I was not in this office, I'd still push to have this, and I'd still raise the funds privately. We need this sort of thing. You can tell kids what's in a book. It's more meaningful when you can show them. Not everybody can get on a plane and go to Normandy, France. I've been blessed I've been there 4 times, and I'm not done. And I'm going to keep going, because every time I go, I'll learn. But not everybody can do that. This is a window into history from an Arkansas perspective that will fascinate. And let me tell you something. Because of the loyal following of the D-Day world and the Band of Brothers universe, and you can see it online. There's all sorts of social media accounts for people who track this stuff, who follow this, who go over in June of each year. They often take the actors and they take some of the folks that served. There's a whole culture around this, and a culture of celebration of this service. I'm going to make sure, before we unveil this, that everybody in that universe, from Steven Spielberg to Tom Hanks to every actor, I've already been talking to the World War II Museum, which, by the way, is the #1 attraction in New Orleans. You may think it's some other kind of partying or whatever. Let me tell you, the #1 attraction in the city of New Orleans is the Smithsonian's World War II Museum. There are a lot of people that care about this stuff, and we want to convert more, because everybody should. And so I think Veterans Day is a perfect time to announce this. I'm so excited. And I appreciate the partnership that we have with all the folks downtown. And we're going to have, there are a lot of questions that we're still working through. We don't know exactly what it'll look like. This is the beginning. So we will iteratively update you, but we wanted to put a flag in the ground and say, this is happening. Kevin Kresse, who's a rock star in the sculpture world, has committed. That's a big deal. I wanted to make sure we locked him in. We're excited about that. And so I'll take any questions, and then I got to run to 2 more speeches. But I wanted to let y'all know that this is happening. The release that went out has a lot of information that I haven't covered here. And anyway, any questions?
What is it going to cost?
I don't know. I am prepared to raise $250,000 is my goal to raise private funds. Every time you mention this, you should have private funds. There's no government funds on that. I'm prepared to raise whatever it takes. I think $250 is way more than the sculpture itself should cost, I believe. But that will allow for the sort of support structure, podium, or whatever it's called, foundation, base, all of that. So we don't want to raise too little. I've had nonprofit foundations. Black Rifle Coffee, you've heard of it maybe. They have a foundation. They haven't committed, but they've shown an interest. I've had some big private donor types. I've had a rock star that led an 80s rock band, one of my favorites. and Night Ranger, and the lead singer has shown an interest in this project. He collects militaria uniforms from Normandy, and he's got some Teddy Rough Rider stuff and some Buffalo Soldier stuff. There are a lot of people, I think, that once we get the news out, they're going to want to help with this. This is an easy thing to support. So if we need to raise more than that, and who knows, the vision may expand. The vision may expand. We're not done. We're just giving you a little update. Heck, this may be the beginning of something even more amazing.
So are you going to set up some sort of like nonprofit or legal structure to collect?
Yeah, look, I think we can attract more. We're working through that now. I haven't taken any contributions yet for this. I think we can attract more if it's a C3 as opposed to just some random bank account. So there are some existing C3s that we're talking with already who could take those funds and manage them for us without us having to start something new. But I do think having a C3 would be helpful because people would get tax deductions. That's just common sense, right? Okay. I appreciate y'all. I'm excited. If you haven't picked up on that, it's a big deal. And did I tell you there are no government funds on this? Yeah, I think I did. Thank y'all so much. We can get this PowerPoint available to you. You've got the release in your deal. Thank y'all. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here.